Good afternoon, everyone. It's 1 o'clock and I will call the May 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Texas Space Commission Board of Directors to order. We do have a quorum, so before we begin, I'd like to request that anyone in the room, please make sure your mobile devices are turned off or on silent. Norman, will you please call the roll?
Spin, Chair Gwen Griffin,
Here.
Vice Chair Kathy Leaders, Secretary Kirk Shireman,
Here.
Evan Loomis, Brad Morrison, here, John Shannon, Dr. Heather Wilson, Sassy Duggan.
Here.
Right. So, good afternoon, everyone. We certainly have a full house today. Really appreciate everybody coming out. It's hard to believe that we're only 11 days out from the close of our legislative session. For the board, I'm pleased to share that House Bill 5246, which is our 2.0 cleanup bill, passed Senate Finance Committee without opposition and has been sent to the full Senate for vote before the end of next week. So all good news there. In staff news, I want to officially welcome Erin Chancellor to her first day as the full-time general counsel for the Texas Space Commission. It's fitting that we have an open meeting on Erin's first day as our general counsel. As you all know, she served as our chief compliance officer for the past 10 months. Hard to believe you're coming up on a year, too late. So I'll be reconvening the hiring subcommittee to begin a search for a new chief compliance officer as required by statute. In the meantime, Erin has graciously agreed to serve in both roles until we hire her replacement for chief compliance officer. And I must say that this commission would not be where it is today without the guidance and support of Joseph Banke, our chief counsel from the Office of the Governor. This past few years, Joseph's support to the commission actually began in 2023 during kind of creation of the organic legislation, if you will, and he served throughout the development and the standing up of this new commission. Joseph, thank you for your steadfast commitment to our board and on behalf of the state of Texas. I know it's been a lot of work at us, CHIPS, in addition to your active duties for the Office of the Governor. When I was nominated chair in our first meeting a year ago, just about this week, you really became my go-to counselor. And I have learned so much from you over this past year. And I know I have a lot more to learn, but without you, we would be without, as one of my friends says. So before that, we hate to see you go. We know you're not far away, so I'm sure Erin will still be in touch. But our sincere thank you on behalf of the entire commission for your
Thank you.
I see flag. He tried to sit in the corner of the room and sneak out as fast as I could, but I knew it was going to All right, so moving on to agenda item 3, we need to consider approval of our minutes from the April 16th, 2025 meeting. Y'all have a draft of those minutes in tab 2 of your board book. And I'd like to ask if these accurately reflect our meeting, or do you have any edits? Hearing none, nobody coming off mute there. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from our April 16th, 2025 meeting of the Texas Space Commission Board?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes from our April 16th meeting of the Texas Space Commission, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. The minutes are approved. I'd like to turn it over to Norman, who is doing business, obviously, but all great, to provide some executive director remarks.
Thank you, ma'am. Just to update everybody, Mr. Shannon and Mr. Loomis are both trying to connect, so we should have them here shortly. Sorry about that. Just a few updates for the board and more for the general public to be aware, since the board has already approved 14 awards, just want to give everybody an update on where we are with executing the grant agreements. As you all know, that's the next phase. After a meeting here and the award made, then we have to actually enter into the contract conversation. So 2 agreements have been fully executed, signed by the awardee and by the agency. 2 agreements have been sent from us to the recipient for their review and signature. 3 drafts are in review by our grants team based on the initial worksheets that we send to the recipients to fill out. That helps us populate then the grant agreement. 4 are still completing worksheets that we sent to them so that we can populate that agreement. 2 recipients have asked for more time to complete those worksheets, and 1 is in review by the CFO's office at the governor's office. So all to say, we've been moving out, making sure that that's the next phase as quickly as possible. Thanks to Aaron, Blake, and the rest of the team who have helped make sure that we get all of that done correctly. Since our last open meeting, just a reminder that a few of us were up in Colorado for the Space Foundation's annual space symposium, and we had a lot of really good meetings while we were up there, both with private companies as well as folks from the Space Force in particular. And as a reminder, the Secretary of State, Secretary Jane Nelson, accompanied us, and she was the keynote for a really successful luncheon. And as many folks came up to Gwen and I afterwards, said she is a firecracker, and we follow her into battle with the conversations that she was leading while we were there. So it was really a blessing to have her there with us. And then lastly, in addition to the engagements over at the Capitol because of session, several of our folks, our teammates, have been going to different conferences and workshops and meetings around the state, around the country. Just a few days ago, Kathy's not able to join us today, but she and I were together in Edinburgh for a 5,000 plus STEM student event in Edinburgh. It was really cool. So anyhow, a lot more things to follow, but those are just a couple of updates for you all now. Thanks.
Now I see Stephanie Murphy's on the line. I'd like to give the floor to the TARSEC chair, Stephanie, for an update from their executive committee.
Hey, thank you, Gwen. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Short and sweet update today from TARSEC. The most important thing I wanted to mention is that we did open up our membership beyond just the institutions of higher education in the state. So that opened on our website earlier in the month. We would encourage people to go on and fill that out if they're interested in participating. What we'd really like to do is mobilize our members to help us develop products or recommendations for TSC in terms of areas that we should strategize for the state and help inform you guys as you're making decisions on funding or other issues, what might be good priorities and feedback from people across the state. So we've had about 36 applications come in so far, all very quality applications. But we'd really like to encourage people to try to get engaged in that way through the membership portal. We're also in the process of evaluating a couple of vendors for the heat map that we've talked about a couple times. The infrastructure is the first priority for that heat map. We've developed a list of different infrastructure elements and companies that we think have resources, and universities and institutions that have resources. That'll be the first layer of the heat map. We will open that up as well so that people can go in and in a process to sort of self-report infrastructure or testing facilities that they may have that would be available. And we're setting up a process in a way to approve those and vet those before they get published to the website. But we've made some good progress on that, and our executive committee is reviewing vendors for that right now. We had some good recommendations come in from our team. And last but not least, Matt Allner was leading a subcommittee that's working to pull together the input that we had received from those workshops. He gave me an update to share. He has input from over 600 participants that they are working through and trying to put into meaningful data. So they're organizing that and prioritizing it. He says that there are clear gaps that the industry sees, and there's opportunities for the state to strengthen our position within the space industry. And hopefully we'll have that to the TSC as a product you can review in the coming months, maybe by the end of summer. We're looking to do that. So just wanted to share that update. It's a lot of information to try to whittle down And we're working through trying to figure out the best way to present that and mobilize that. And that's where we'd also like membership participation. So as we refine that document, we can put it out for comment and input as well. So those are the couple of updates that we have from TSC, and I'm happy to take any questions, Gwen, that you may have for us.
I just thank you, Stephanie, and to your team, to the executive committee. We look forward to the heat map and the other resources. Appreciate the work that Matt and others and you have been doing. So thanks for that update. Great to have you with us as always.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I just want to point out in that we've got Evan and John as well.
Yes, great. Okay, here comes John. Hello, Evan. Great to see you. And John, hopefully will be on camera here shortly. Appreciate you guys working with us to get in here. All right. Okay. So as we continue engaging with partners in state government, the private sector and nonprofits, we really are trying to learn about how we can best grow the space ecosystem in the state of Texas. And we have some great partners to help us do that. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Aaron Demerson, the president and CEO of the Texas Economic Development Corporation. Texas EDC is an independently funded and operated nonprofit organization. They're responsible for marketing and promoting Texas as a premier business location, and we do a fantastic job. I want that. The Texas EDC team works closely with the governor's office of economic development and tourism. Thanks for being here, Joe, representing the team today, to advance Governor Abbott's economic development agenda to build a stronger Texas. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Aaron, and thank you, Brooklyn, for being here today.
Yes, Madam Chair, thanks for the introduction. I know I read my items, it's me, and then the next important item with this agenda. And so I'll move fastly through the presentation, but let me first of all, again, thank the board for the opportunity. I want to thank you as well. We've been running each other a number of places, and so the power of partnerships and the opportunity really bodes well for us. So we're delighted to be here. I wanted to congratulate the board for your roles serving, been appointed and serving, and thank you for your roles of serving as well. We don't take that for granted. In Texas, it takes a team in order for us to be successful. We need to make sure that we're actually doing exactly that. I noticed there are a lot of veterans as well that are part of the organization. So I wanted to say thanks to any veteran that's in the audience as well. We appreciate the service. What we get to do means a lot. I had the opportunity to participate in the Army War College as a civilian and also NTC as a civilian as well. And so the appreciation for veterans bodes well in a big way. And so Dr. Chair, thank you for the introduction because you laid out what we do. I mean, that's pretty much what we do. We do that. We market the state both domestically and internationally. And so what I want to do is to really walk you through our annual report that we provided. And that'll really tell the story about how we market Texas and the opportunities that we might have here. Delighted to see a lot of friendly faces in the crowd. Bryce, nice seeing you. We had Bryce last couple of years ago introduced him to the governor right on the spot. The governor called him right to him and made phone calls on the spot. And so done some amazing things. But that shows the leadership that we have even at that level and how that works in terms of making sure that our Texas businesses are able to succeed in our state. So I'm going to walk you through the annual report. We'll open this up and kind of walk through the pages here. So if you turn to page 3, what you'll see there in 2024 is our board of directors. That's the board of directors. One more page there. That's the board of directors, and they have it on the screen there as well. Arun Argawal is the board chair. David DeAndre, the Lone Star Bank. These are all appointed by the governor as well. Adrian Kennedy out of Temple, Texas. Grady McClain actually served as the board chair at one point, and he's in the Temple, Texas area. So Adrian's on board here. Elizabeth Killinger and Katie Farmer are rotating off the board, but that's NRG. And then BNSF, Katie Farmer, the first female president of a major rail line, serving on our board as well. And then Rick Francis in El Paso, Trey and Lufkin, Peter Holt down there in San Antonio, and Eddie Margain, who does work Austin FC team here, and a number of other interests serves. And then Tom Mason rounded that off. Vicki Hollow, president CEO of Oxy, as a former board chair as well, immediate board chair, just rotating off. In the 2 positions, Elizabeth and Katie, that are on board, they're going to be replaced with Larry Coben of NRG. And we also have Bruce Niemeyer with Chevron, that's gonna be coming on. He's president of the Americas. And so those are all appointed by the governor to really help us showcase the best of what Texas has to offer. And so if you go to page 4, we'll skip page 3 and go to page 4. These are investors in the corporation. And so you get a look, see at the individuals that really want to make sure that we're continuing to market the state. And so when we talk about the power of partnerships, individuals as such mean a lot to us. And so a lot of you that owners of companies, folks that are in the audience that may be employers in our state, here are opportunities for you to join in to help us actually market the state, all with the best of interest to see Texas be a number one and stay in that position. And so a lot of bankers, you have industries that represent a number of different areas that are part of the corporation. Some have been a part of the corporation for a long time. I've had the pleasure of working for Governor Perry and Governor Abbott, and some of these guys go back to even that time. And so we appreciate that support in big ways. And so to the next page, you'll see the executive council members, and that's the Samsung's Howard Hughes, the Transwestern, and then the developer council level as well. All again interested in what we're doing here in the state of Texas. I'll fast forward to the others that are there as well. Next page will showcase the opportunity Austin, Greater San Antonio, Texas, the Great Houston Partnership. Port of Corpus Christi is now on this list. This was 2024. The investor guide that you have in front of you will have the newer list of investors that are on board. But it runs a gamut from those organizations all the way down to the patron and pioneer level, where you have economic development organizations and other industry that are tied in with us. Again, with the sole purpose of marketing the state to make sure that we're making a difference. Back about a month ago, we had an energy summit. We have 17 investors that are in the energy space. Just yesterday, I was on the call with the University of North Texas, David Hamilton and that group, normally you know them, and they were talking about some work that they're doing in the space area, and therein lies an opportunity for us to partner there. So I'm looking forward to what's going to happen in that regard, and we're going to be seeing work done together in big ways. And so looking forward to that as well. I'll fast forward to the page 8 and 9, page 9. We've already talked about what we do as a corporation, but we market the state domestically and internationally. It's important for us to do that. The governor talks about 3 items that are very much of interest to us. That's artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and space. Artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and space. And so we want to make sure that we are doing our part in that regard. And so you'll find us in countries like the ones that we visited last year, when we were in India, followed up by London, the UK, and then we were in Asia. We were in three countries, 4 cities in Asia. And so we were in Taiwan, where we opened up our state of Texas office, the Government Economic Development Tourism Team, headed by Adriana Cruz, and that group opened an office in Taiwan, followed up with Korea, and then Japan, where we went to Nagoya to say thank you to the Toyota family, and then ended up in Tokyo as well. And so those are the international trips that we've taken. And the annual report kind of reflects the level of visits that we're making. When we're making those trips, we are also taking employers, Texas employers, and Texas communities on those trips. And so India, about 15. When we're in Asia, we had about 20. And these are folks that make up various parts of the industry as well, all led by the governor and the secretary of state as well. On page 14, look for that, we'll see the events that we put on, the industry roundtables. The Governor's Cup, we won for 13 years in a row. We celebrate those successes. The Texas Stock Exchange celebration that was there. And what we want to do is to make sure that we're partnering with organizations like the Space Commission and floors that are in our state, to make sure that if there's good news out there that we need to celebrate. We want to help tell that story in a way. And these are some examples of events and activities that we put on to make that happen. This is not all inclusive list, but gives an idea of some of the things that we're doing. Norman and I, as I mentioned, have been running into each other at various areas, and so I know there's collaboration opportunities as well. Was at the meeting the other day. Tell me the name again. Blake. Yeah, Blake was at a meeting just the other day when we had the Minister of Taiwan in that meeting representing the economy, and posed him with a tough question, but he was able to navigate through that question in a big way. But that just goes to the partnership and the relationships that we have, where even internationally, it makes all the difference in the world. ended up with the last events, the holiday reception. The governor allows us to do that with our members, and we participate in Formula One events, different events, again, all driving business. Anytime we can bring site consultants and folks in, we want to make sure that we're recruiting businesses to our state and tourists to our state, but also that the ones that are here stay here in our state as well. And so all of these activities done with the governor's economic development and tourism team allows us to make sure that those things are taking place. And so if you fast forward to the end, it basically shows our balance sheet. We're fortunate to have a lot of employers investing in the corporation, and we want to continue that as well. And then we have a lean meeting machine, 10 of about 10 folks. That's the last page. That's the team that we've been able to put together to make some things work. I'm going to leave behind this bigger, better Texas. This is actually a booklet that talks about Texas, and we're showcasing Texas in a big way. You'll see a number of communities that are involved in economic development. It opens up with McAllen, means business, and other Texas communities are represented in this publication as well. But as I summarize, it's really the power of partnerships, the opportunity for us to be here. Norman, thank you and your team for the work that they've done and then partnering to go tell that story. We'll be with Joe at the Paris Air Show, I think, coming up in a couple of weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll continue to do what we need to do, but solicit the input from folks that are serving on the commission and employers that are here in this industry to see if there's anything that we can do for further advance those efforts. And so thank you guys again for the opportunity to be here. We're right across the street at 1005 Congress Avenue. And again, just to continue to appreciate the relationships that we have and the volunteer efforts that you guys are doing as board members. We don't take that for granted. You are in our Texas citizens, and that's something that we're proud of, and we don't take it for granted. So with that, I'll zip it. Brooklyn's here with me. She handles the communication, social media side. I think about a year and a half, 2 years out of college, we're bringing her on. She's out of Atlanta, but here in Texas, and so she's learning the Texas story. So with that, I will zip it and be available for any questions that anyone might have.
Thanks for the overview, Aaron. It's obviously you guys don't let any dust settle on your feet, regardless of part in the world you're in, and your support for the governor's, the EDC team, much appreciated. And having been involved with Great Eastern Partnership, the Houston Economic Partnership, I've always heard of heard about the great relationships and the partnerships across the state that you guys do nurture. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any questions from any board members? Yeah, and we welcome the opportunity to arm you guys, prepare you with any messaging you need as you head off to the Paris Air Show. Always a good crowd there. So we welcome that opportunity. We can't wait to dig into your magazine here and all these materials. So we got lots of good homework and good numbers.
Great information there. And again, I can't wait to hear input from you guys in regards to how we take this even higher.
Yeah.
That partnership in Texas means a lot. And that's how we're successful. We talk about bringing together the world's workforce, economic development, and education.
Yeah.
Workforce, economic development, and education. And you couple that with elected leadership like the governor,
Right.
then we're well on our way to success.
Absolutely. It takes those pillars working together.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do it individually. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, members, next up, we have the consideration of additional CERP applications. Any questions from the directors before we begin? So relevant details on the applications before us today are in board book and in your board book on tab 4. In accordance with the Texas Space Commission's rules, if a board member has a conflict of interest as described in those rules, the board member will disclose that conflict of interest in this open meeting as the matter arises and recuse him or herself from participating in the review, discussion, deliberation, and voting on that matter. Board members have already disclosed their written notice as required by the rules, and they have not accessed information regarding the applications in which they are conflicted. So first, we have application. So let me ask, does anybody today, in addition to previously disclosing, have any conflicts that you know of? And then we'll dig in. And we'll go through each one and you can let us know. First, we have application 25028G from the West Central Texas Council of Governments. For the record, I understand there are no conflicts, but we'll ask if any board members do have. Application 25028G is a grant application from the West Texas Council of Governments for research costs. This project would conduct a feasibility study examining the viability of developing space-related infrastructure and operations, as well as the anticipated economic and workforce impacts within the West Central Texas Council of Governments region, which spans 19 counties in West Central Texas. Members, is there any discussion on application 200208G? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the award regarding application 25028G in the amount of up to $175,000 for research costs conditioned on the applicant's successful completion of the commission's administrative background assessments and acceptance of grant agreement terms?
So moved.
Thank you, Joe. That was Kirk. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Brad. That's spell your name right now. All in favor of approving application 25028G, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. And any abstentions? Okay. Motion carried. All right. Next up, we have application 2500051B from Fluxworks, Inc. For the record, I understand that Evan Loomis has disclosed a conflict on this application. Do any other board members have a conflict of interest on this application? Application 2500051B is a grant application from Fluxworks, Inc. for development costs. The project would further develop a magnetically geared actuator designed for space mechanisms to technology readiness level 6, preparing the magnetic gear for further testing in a microgravity experimental payload environment on the International Space Station. Members, is there any discussion on application 2500051B? Do I have a motion to approve the award regarding application 2500051B in the amount of up to $347,196 for development costs, conditioned on the applicant's successful completion of the commission's administrative background assessments and acceptance of the grant agreement terms?
So moved.
Thank you, Brad. May I have a second?
Seconded.
Thank you, John. All in favor of approving application 2500051B, say aye.
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 Those opposed, say no. Or any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Okay. The board will now consider application 25019OB for Axiom Space Incorporated. For the record, I understand that no conflicts have been identified on this application. Do any board members have a conflict of interest on this application? Application 25019OB is a grant application from Axiom Space Incorporated for development costs. This project would develop orbital data centers to address emerging national security, civil, and commercial needs in space-based mesh networking, satellite data storage, and processing, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Members, is there any discussion on application 25019OB? There quite much. Do I have a motion to approve the award regarding application 25019OB in the amount of up to $5.5 million for development costs conditioned on the applicant's successful completion of the commission's administrative background assessments and acceptance of grant agreement terms? Thank you, Nancy. And may I have a second? Thank you.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of approving application 25019OB, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Or any abstentions? All right, moving right on. The board will now consider application 250026B from Cesium Astro Incorporated. For the record, I understand that no conflicts have been identified on this application. Do any board members have a conflict of interest on this application? Application 250026B is a grant application from Cesium Astro Incorporated for equipment and research and development costs. This project constructs a state-of-the-art satellite production facility and integrated headquarters to support Cesium Astro's new satellite platform. The facility will feature advanced manufacturing capabilities and equipment, as well as a shared asset space for peer aerospace companies to test and develop products. This expansion will enable scaled production capabilities, meeting increased demand and further pioneering advancements in satellite communication. Members, is there any discussion on application 250026B? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the award regarding application 250026B in the amount of up to $10 million for equipment and research and development costs, conditioned on the applicant's successful completion of the commission's administrative background assessments and acceptance of grant agreement terms? Thank you, Brad. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving application 25026B, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. And any abstentions? Okay. This time, I'll turn the meeting over to Brad Morrison for our next application.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, next we have application 250123 Bravo B from the Aldrin Family Foundation of Texas. Chair Griffin and Secretary Shireman are recused from discussion and voting on this application. Do any of the board members have a conflict of interest on this application? Application 250123 B is a grant application from the Aldrin Family Foundation of Texas for development costs. This project would bring the Student Satellites in Space, or SCUBE program, to high schools around the state of Texas. In the SCUBE program, students learn the science and engineering of a satellite spacecraft while developing skills needed to succeed in a STEM career. This two-year preparatory program has students build and interact with real satellite hardware and includes mentorship by industry STEM professionals. Members, is there any discussion on application 250123B? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the award regarding application 250123B in the amount of up to $4,707,457 million for eligible costs, conditioned on the applicant's successful completion of the commission's administrative background assessments and acceptance of grant agreement terms?
So moved.
Jonathan? May I have a second?
Second.
Got Nancy on that. A second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
With that, Gwen, I'll turn the meeting back over to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, now that we've considered certain applications that were available for consideration today, I want to remind everyone that we're still reviewing proposals. This includes proposals we're still reviewing include 128 applications from 31 individual institutes of higher education in Texas. Thankfully, as an additional resource for board members, we've received a technical merit assessment on each proposed project from these institutes of higher education from an external service provider. And personally, I'll say that I found the supplemental information from these third-party experts, subject matter experts, to be really informative, as I've reviewed and scored the Institute of Higher Education grants. I hope that my fellow directors have found that resourceful as well. So based on awards approved today, there's still an available balance of $34.1 million in the SURF Trust from the initial $150 million appropriated in 2023 by the Texas legislature. So to that effect, I want to pause and sincerely thank my fellow board members for the time that you guys have already given and for the time that I know you will continue to give as we continue to score applications that are deemed administratively complete. I will say that for Erin's behalf through our compliance and legal reviews. So I know it's taken a lot of work and a tremendous amount of your personal time in addition to your day jobs to work through the 281 applications that we received. Again, we never thought that the demand signal would be quite so strong. And just a quick reminder, it totaled about $3.46 billion of the 150 that were granted. I also want the public to know that this board and our staff at the Space Commission are moving as quickly as humanly possible and legally possible, keyword there, key phrase, to properly award these SURF grant funds. So I'm really proud of all that we've accomplished, both the board and the staff in the last 12 months, of standing up a new commission. In that time, just to kind of hit a couple of highlights that I reflected back on, we've hired the 2 statutory required positions, our executive director and chief compliance officer. Norman, Aaron, and Blake have built out a team of skilled professionals to carry out the work of this commission. We've held 13 open meetings in 12 months. The board has defined and adopted rules to administer a grant program. We've received those 281 applications for proposed projects. As of now, we've approved 19 applications and awarded $115 $900 million from the SURF grant program. I'd say that's a pretty impressive cadence for our first year. So again, thank you to all who have put a lot of sweat, equity, and hours into doing what we've done. And I will say that our partners in other states have been very generous in their applaud for the hard work and the speed in which we have done these things. So you're not going unnoticed, and your volunteer efforts are greatly appreciated and recognized. So with that, the next item on our agenda, we are not going to meet in a closed session today. So I'd like to just ask, do any directors have any other comments related to our current agenda today? Okay, other than me getting
Hey,
tired.
Gwen, I'm sorry. Just it looks like Joseph's gone, but I know you said thanks to Joseph. Just a personal thanks for me to Joseph. He's been a huge help to me along the way. And I really appreciate all the work he's done. So I realize he's not there. I'll reach out to him personally, but wanted it for the record that I really appreciate what he's done for the commission, and we wouldn't have accomplished all those things you just mentioned without Joseph. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kurt. Pass that on. All right. With that, thank you all for being here, and thank you, Aaron and Brooklyn, for joining us today. If there's no further business to attend to, I will close this meeting at approximately 1:39 on the dot, 1:39 p.m. Thanks so much, and y'all have a great afternoon.